Good morning. I am going to show you today how to make a sign using some of our new products. I have, let's start with the IOD. We have some new script fonts, well, some new fonts in. One is a script right here, that's this one. I'm going to show you how to prep it before its first use. But these are new and they just came in. And the newest editions of our stamps come with a mask. And if you don't know about masking, you can scroll back through some of Iron Orchid Design's tutorials, and it'll show you how to use the mask. We used to make our own mask, and they have since started providing those in the package, which is a great addition to your tools to help you. That one is the, let's see, that one is actually called the swoosh stamp. It's a script type stamp. And this one here is the farm hand. We're going to use it. It also has the mask in it, which is great. So before you use your stamps for the first time, you're going to take a sanding block, and I have one right here. You're going to take a sanding block and you're going to, okay, I still do not have a tripod, so I'm doing this again behind the camera. I'm not really fond of doing live videos or videos of myself yet. Hopefully my hands will get freed up when I get a tripod. That's going to make things easier. Anyway, you just take just a sanding block. It really doesn't matter what grit. I usually have like a 120 or something handy. I'm not sure what this one is, but we're going to use it. And what you do is you go over your stamps. Let's see, this one's open. You're going to go over your stamps first in one direction. So you would go one direction and then go back over another direction. And what this does, when it comes from the factory, it's really slick and smooth. And all it does is prep your stamps to take the ink or paint or whatever medium you're using. Today we're going to be using ink, Iron Orchid's inks. But you have to it gives it some tooth to hold on to your medium, so it'll hold the ink or whatever you're using before you put it on your product. And the second thing I wanted to show you, this is a clear, this is called a thin mount. We've had thin mounts before, and what this does is it helps you lay your impression that you're stamping. It helps you line it up. It's got these grids, and it also now comes with these these curved angles to help you in placement, to make sure you, when you're doing things like reef impressions or lines or signs like we're doing today, that makes it real helpful. So that's a nice addition to your toolbox. Something new that Iron Orchid is offering. And this paper, this is the decoupage paper from Roy Cycle Treasures that we carry. I'm going to be making a sign, and I've already prepped my board that I'm going to use. And this is going to be a little Halloween sign. Anyway, I've already prepped my board. I'm going to be using this beautiful woman here. I'm making a sign for my friends. They'll get it when I post it. They'll get a big kick out of it. Anyway, she's going to be in the center of my board, and then I'm going to put some script writing above her. Well, I'm going to put some of it in the swoosh design and some of it in the farmhand design. But I'm going to show you how to decoupage her onto the board, and then after she is in place and dried, we're going to add our letters. So the next thing I want to show you is I can take the scissors. If I wanted this to be precise, I could take the scissors and I could cut it. This is a paper that has a lot of different images on it, and you can use it all together, or you can make separate projects out of it, which is another, that's nice to have. You know, I could do 7 smaller projects out of this one piece of paper, or I could work them all together. But I'm going to show you how to tear your paper. I want it kind of raggedy, and I don't need probably the whole block. So I am going to take just a paintbrush with some water, and I am going to, I don't know if you can see me, just kind of make a mark with my paintbrush where I want it. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow me to tear it. I'm going to show you how easy it is to tear. Did you see that? It'll give me a jagged edge, and it'll be fine when it dries. You won't see this water. But this right here, this enables me to easily tear it apart and make it kind of jagged, because that's the look that I'm going for. We don't want it real nice and neat. It's supposed to be spooky. So there, I've cut it out, but I'm going to go back around these sharp edges, and I'm going to apply some water and just pull this apart with my fingers to kind of even it up. There we go. So I have cut my shape out the way that I want it and placed her about where she needs to be. I've also taken my grid and laid my letters out. But the first step we have to do is we have to decoupage her to the board. And for this process, you can use any of your finishes. Most finishes, like the paint company that I represent, Bungalow 47, I'm going to use their matte finish. You can use the regular decoupage liquid that you can buy at the craft store, or you can use any of your finishes from your favorite paint manufacturer. But today we're going to be using that, the matte finish from Bungalow 47. And just a little chip brush. You just want to make sure that you put your finish underneath where she's going to lay. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole board with the finish because it has to be done anyway. So I'm going to do it, and then we're going to place her where she needs to be. And we're going to do the, once it dries, we're going to do the iron technique, where with that, all you do is you take a regular, a regular little iron. I have this one that I ordered. It's compact and small. It's actually a travel iron. You put it on a high setting, and once your product's dry and you put this on top of your image, what it does is it reactivates the finish, the clear coat that you used. It'll reactivate it, and it will remove all of the wrinkles in it, so it'll be extremely smooth. I'll show you that when we get to that point. You can see that I have put the clear coat on, and it's going to dry, and I've laid her down where she needs to be, and you just kind of smooth her out the best you can. We're going to come back, like I said, with the iron, and it's going to remove all of those. It's going to remove all of the wrinkles. Anyway, she looks good so far. Yes, she looks good so far. Also, let's see, you can use your brayer. As soon as I find mine, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. This is a brayer, You can get one from our booth at the New Roads Antique Mall there in New Roads, Louisiana. This is a brayer, and basically what it is, you'll use this to apply your ink to your letters, but you also can use it to smooth out your decoupage. It helps get the bubbles out. Of course, remember that we're going to go back over it and iron them out anyway, but this is a great, it's a hard rubber tool that we use for different things, mainly for applying our mediums to our stamps for stamping, but I wanted to show you a way to use that. And remember, this ain't your mama's decoupage. Some of us had mothers back in the 70s that really got into decoupage, and they did it a little different than us. I guess their supplies were limited. We have an endless supply of things nowadays that we can do. It just makes it so much easier and so much better. This is not your mama's decoupage. So I'm cheating a little bit. I'm using my heat gun. This is what we do in classes when we have workshops and we need something to dry fast. Anyway, I'm drying it on a... This doesn't get really hot. Some of them do. I mean, it gets hot, don't get me wrong, but it's not as... There's some really industrial looking ones that get really, really hot. This one, it puts out enough heat to dry it. But, anyway, it's drying. And I'm cheating a little bit. Instead of letting it dry naturally, I'm trying to dry it quicker so that we can go on to the next step. I'll show you how to iron it out. You do have to put a piece of parchment paper down between the image and your iron, because if not, the glue will stick to your iron, and we all know sticky stuff and irons don't work well together. So just dry it, let it dry, and then we're going to iron. She actually dried. Oop, it's not focused. Hello. It is, she actually dried pretty good. There's really no wrinkles under her, and that was just, that's surprising. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my parchment paper down. And it's just a little sheet of parchment paper I get from the, it's the same exact size as the board. I get them from the Dollar Tree in a little box. They're Reynolds brand. And I just keep a box handy. Anyway, I don't need to iron the rest of the image. I mainly just need to do the part that is decoupage, because remember, I did put that glue. I did put the glue on the whole board. Well, it's not a glue, the finish, but it would act like a glue if I heated it up. So we just want to press her down to make sure all of the images adhered and there's no wrinkles, and just give her a good. And you can do this with any of your projects that are flat that you can actually get the iron on. And it is hot, but if you leave it too long on, if you leave your iron on it too long, it will scorch your paper, so you don't want to do that. You just got to kind of check it and see. But it's beautiful. It's really, you can take your paper once it cools a little bit. It's still kind of hot, but you can just press it out and make sure it's good and flat. And she really is. She's got, I don't know if you can see, she's got no wrinkles. None at all. She's beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is stamp our letters. Remember, I already put them on the grid, on the thin sheet, the clear sheet with the grid marks on it. I've already lined them up where I wanted them, and we're going to stamp them. We're going to ink them up, and we're going to stamp them, and we'll be finished. I wasn't expected. I thought I had a pad inked up. Another thing that so I inked my pad and inked my letters, and I have placed it on my design. You have to press each letter down. We call it just tapping it down to make sure that you get ink everywhere it's supposed to go. And I removed it, and this is what it came out to be. And this is in honor of all my witch friends. They totally get it, I'm sure. So it's time to load up, witches.